Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Giridhara Gopijana Vallabha Giridharadhari Gopijana Vallabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Vrajanarandana Vamanadeva Vamanadeva Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Yamunatira
Distribution ki jai, Haryam Sankirtan ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru Granth, all glories to Sri Guru. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Niti Namani, Namaste Saraswate Devi, Gauravani Pracharya, Nirvase Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We are today reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the 8th canto, and we're on chapter 23 of the 8th canto. And this section of Srimad Bhagavatam is very wonderful, informative section of Bhagavatam on surrender. We may all have our attachments, we may all have our material desires, or not all, but many of us may have. And we're in a situation, this particular time in Kali Yuga, where environment is not exactly favorable. In one sense, you could say, because of its negativity, it could be an impetus, but in of itself, it is not environmentally supportive of the cultivation of pure devotional service. We've been hearing about how Bali Maharaj, and as the king of the Asuras, the demons, had conquered over the kingdoms of even of the demigods, most of them, and was basically lording it over the universe within his grasp, at least. It's a long story, we don't have time to delve into it. But this is the nature, he's having to play his part as the king of the demons, but it's the nature of the demons that they want to conquer, control, claim proprietorship for, and so on. So Bali Maharaj was willing, or at least obligating, pursuing this spirit of exploitation. Much the dismay of the higher beings, the demigods or the devas, not all of course, but the functioning ones like Indra and others. They were very dismayed, and their mother Aditi was also extremely disturbed, and she underwent a Payobanta, this particular vrata given to her by Kashyapa Muni, her husband, to achieve her objectives, to reinstate her sons in power. Politics goes on at every level. And but this particular vrata was a very special vrata which purified her consciousness and evoked, you could say, the mercy of Lord Vishnu, who then appeared to her and fulfilled her desires, and then she of course appeared as her son in the form of the dwarf Brahmin boy Vamana, the Vamana, the dwarf form of Krishna. Wonderful pastime, and how he then very sweetly and very cunningly tricked, you could say, Bali Maharaj. The Lord's tricks are always very nice. They always bring about a good result. Our tricks often end up in causing much distress to others. It's Krishna, he's the greatest of all the cheats. In one sense, he's not really, because everything belongs to him. Everything is meant for the pleasure of the Supreme. Nothing exists for any other reason. And spirit really means, you're just hearing describing it as that which is connected, that which is connected to Krishna. Everything is connected, but connected in consciousness also, that we're aware that our life, our very self, and the energy around us all should be connected to Krishna. It should be, you call it yoga. Yoga means to connect. So we heard just heard different types of yoga and what the different parts are, how they're connected with each other also. But ultimately is to connect with Krishna. Bhagavatam is, Bhagavatam is the complete, let's say, fullness of how we can completely connect with Krishna. Teaching us from whatever situation we're in, how we can progress towards a natural condition. As the finger is naturally connected to the body, we are naturally connected to Krishna. It's not an unnatural imposition, a forced situation. It is the nature of the soul, as part and parcel, that we're meant to be connected eternally with Krishna. Right now, we misuse of our independence. When we're seeing the world, we're seeing Krishna separately, we're seeing his energy in relation to ourselves instead of in relationship with Krishna. So yoga is, ideally, at least Bhakti yoga, is wholly and solely directed towards, by practical application as well as by hearing, to realize how everything is connected to Krishna. The realization, by practical application and hearing the truth, one gradually begins to realize what is actually the nature of ourselves and everything around us, and how everything is connected to Krishna. So at this stage, at least in as far as this pastime goes, Bali Maharaj has forgotten this, and he's very busy. The difference is that Prabhupada describes the demons and the demigods, they both may have somewhat materialistic outlook on life. But the demigods, although they may be Sakama Bhaktas, materialistic devotees, nonetheless, they still don't forget the fact that everything belongs to Krishna. And they still remember their business is to serve Krishna, even if they are a little bit Sakama, materialistic, Karma Mishra Bhakti, we would call it. They're mixed with material motivations. But it's pious, because they're attached to Krishna. Whereas the demons deny the authority of Krishna. They may utilize the techniques, they may even utilize sacrifices and worship of Brahmins, etc., but it's for their own separate interests, not to fulfill the will of the Lord, but their own will. This is the general mentality of conditioned souls, particularly in this time of the ages in Kali Yuga. It's a very prominent factor, and that more or less everybody, in their own little way, is in the mood of Hiranyakashipu or something like that, trying to conquer over everything they can. A little bit, you could say, full of false prestige. So Bali Maharaj was, at this time, he was performing together with the priests of the Bhrigu dynasty, headed by Shukracharya, the spiritual guide of the demons. And he was very learned and very powerful also. He came in line of Bhrigu Muni, a very powerful Brahmin, and he was giving guidance to Bali Maharaj, whereas Indra had lost the favor of Brihaspati, his spiritual master, due to his on and off, we see here occasionally, misbehavior, and thus he lost his Shakti or his Tejas and was driven out by the power of the demons. At that time were favored by providence, you could say, or by time. At that time they're being favored, and they got the favor of the Brahmins, so they were conquering like that. So he was again performing another great sacrifice in Bhaguch, Brigukach, the place in Gujarat still today is there. And he was performing this yajna on the banks of the Narmada River. it would become even more powerful. So at that particular point of time, Lord Vamanadeva appeared on the spot on a particular occasion, and a very beautiful form, nicely decorated, what you received deer skin and kamandalu and waistband and so belt and so many things, staff and what have you, and rudrakshas, different auspicious items. He received them from various demigods and demigoddesses before he proceeded to that place. And there he approached the scene of the sacrifice, and immediately Bali Maharaj noticed his entrance, and he was immediately attracted. Now, this is, of course, we see that sometimes this happens. Even the so many seemingly demons are attracted to Krishna consciousness. It may not be with knowledge. It may be due to some external reasons, or some good fortune of some kind. But they're attracted to the Sankirtan, or they're attracted to prasadam, attracted to the good qualities sometimes of the behavior of a devotee, and so on. They may become somewhat attracted. They may, rarely speaking, but they may even be attracted to certain aspects of the philosophy. So he was attracted to the form of Vamana, which was very beautiful, even though he was considered to be a demon, not really a demon in one sense, but he was in king of the demons in that line of the asuras, and he had great respect for the Brahmins. So Vamanadeva would come as a young brahmachari Brahmin, so then he offered him his respects, and it was explained very carefully and very clearly that one must receive some. Today, one fortunate devotee is sponsoring the feast, I believe. It's a wonderful day to render such service. Kadashi, Dwadashi, these auspicious days which stand in our lives to give us this, say, extra. Sometimes you have certain time of the month or certain time of the year when one gets extra credit, just like maybe at Christmas time you get double points if you go over the speed limit. Extra mercy, more mercy than usual. Thank you very much for giving double points. They do in Europe, I don't know about here. Yeah, sometimes what we get on the other side, maybe the side we're more interested in, you get extra dividends, or you get a sale, the thing's cheaper or something, certain days. The Kadashi, these special holy days, Madhavatithi Bhakti Janani, these holy days, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur described as mothers of devotion for those who observe them. One of those days, a great day to give, to surrender more. Now, we may not be on the level of a surrendered soul, but at least we can surrender something which we think is mine, whether it's time, talent, wealth, whatever it is, something at least, intelligence, words, something, to surrender more, which is very, then you get more returns, more interest on certain days. They have these things, you get more for your money on certain times of the year, on electricity, for instance, things like that. So these days they stand out like this, very special days. So on this occasion, on Kadashi today, so a very auspicious day for increasing our hearing and chanting, increasing our consciousness of Krishna, increasing our Bali Maharaj is known in our Vaishnava, in the 9 limbs of devotional services, one who attained perfection through Atmanivedanam, through surrendering everything to Krishna. But there was a higher principle which we just heard about yesterday, which was taught by his wife Vindhyavali. Prabhupada says his wife Vindhyavali was more intelligent than Bali Maharaj. She chastised him. After Vamanadeva had asked for the charity, he offered him charity. You're supposed to offer charity when anyone comes to one's residence or approaches, a Brahmin approaches one should want to offer something. This way, even materially we benefit, what to speak of spiritually. So he offered him, please ask for charity. To cut the long story short, Vamanadeva asked for 3 paces of land, and he was only a little boy, a few feet high. And Valiman said, You are young, you're too young, your intelligence is not developed. You should ask for more than that. I have planets, I can give you a whole plane, I can give you islands, I can give you this dweepas, that one, varshas, I can give you so many things. Why are you asking for 3 paces of land, you foolish little boy? You should ask for more than that. I said, if I'm Vamanadeva, if I'm not satisfied with 3 paces of land, I will not be satisfied with the whole universe. That's a fact. Everyone knows. The more we try to satisfy the raging senses, the less they're satisfied. They want more, and they want more, and more, and more. Ani-or, ani-or, ani-or. Comes from Krishna. And we have Nafji here on Govardhan Hill, snapping his fingers, saying, ani-or, ani-or, give me more, give me more. But that's another thing. That's the pure aspect of this tendency. In the material world, it simply entangles with more and more in the material world. Suffering more and more, birth and death, etc., etc. So, the nature of demons. So Lord Vamanadeva is teaching a lesson. And then Bali Maharaj, okay, if that's what you really want, that's what you're going to get. Shukacharya also tried to thwart this offering of charity in so many ways. Tried to convince his disciple, don't do it. If you disobey my orders, you'll go down to the lower planets, you'll suffer in hell, and so on and so forth. You didn't say Om, so it's not binding. And after all, any charity which is given, which may impede one's purpose in life or put one into difficulty, should not be given. He went on and on, giving different arguments. But Bali Maharaj was not convinced. He was convinced, I will not break my promise. To break one's promise, to tell a lie to a Brahmin is the greatest sin. And I don't fear anything else. I don't care. Even if I do go to hell, I don't care. Even if I lose everything else, but I cannot tolerate the infamy or the disgrace of breaking my promise to a Brahmin boy. This I cannot tolerate, because Mother Earth can tolerate anything except for a liar. She cannot tolerate liars. That's what it stated at the time. So in this way, he was convinced. He eventually agreed, yes. And Vamanadeva also went on to explain so many different aspects of, how we should be satisfied. And Bali Maharaj also then justified his situation, said, well, we're going to lose everything at the time of death anyway. You can't keep anything. Nothing. What's it going to help us? How's it going to help us when we die? You have to leave it. We better use it now for the right purpose in the name of, because he was in his sacrifice, so he was thinking in that direction. He was thinking, you could say, a little bit in the mode of goodness, a little bit Brahminically. We better use it now if this is actually Lord Vishnu. Yogya by Vishnu, he is the goal of sacrifice. So we should offer it now. That's the purpose of yoga. And then if we're going to lose it anyway, we may as well offer it now, otherwise we're going to be punished. And he cited examples of Shivi and Mankidev and others who gave everything and became, basically, their name stands forever, glorified forever. So this mood, because he was Kshatriya, so to be a coward is go back on one's word is unheard of for a Kshatriya, practically speaking. So he wouldn't go back, so he accepted that. He rejected his spiritual master, everything, he lost everything. On the day, then, we'll know the story, probably do anyway, how he expanded himself into a huge form. Basically, he encompassed the whole universe within his form. Then he took his first step, lower and middle planets, the second step, upper planets, bopped through the universe, went his big toe, and became the Ganga. Like this, he covered the whole universe. Now then, you rascal, you promised me 3 steps. Where's my 3rd? Tie him up. Garuda came with the ropes of Runa and tied up Bali Maharaj. He was humiliated. Everyone could see how Prahlad Maharaj came on the spot. Lord Brahma came. Everyone came. All the great souls came to see this amazing pastime going on with the Supreme Lord. They came to offer their respects, etc. And to see the position of this Bali Maharaj, how he's bound up. He's given everything. He offered everything to the Lord. And now he's bound up and humiliated. He couldn't tolerate this. They had taken everything. What's Bali Maharaj is going to do? I can't not fulfill my promise to a Brahmin. I must. So then he offered his own body. He said, here, I'm going to now. You put your 3rd step on my head. Which of course Vamanadeva did. Then Vijayavali came and Vijayavali gave him the sauce. If you know that term in American sauce. So she chastised him, you rascal, you nonsense, you agnostic fool. And it wasn't because he gave everything away without asking her, which most wives would have probably been angry about. Not at all. She chastised him and said, you still are foolish, ignorant agnostic. You think this body belongs to you still, and you're offering what you think is yours to the Lord. When will you realize that you don't own anything? Neither the universe, not even your own body. It belongs to Him already. So she taught the lesson of the surrendered soul. A surrendered soul is more than one who surrenders everything. Surrendered soul, as you can see in Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu, 2 categories of it. The surrendered soul is one who knows always that everything belongs to Krishna and only exists for His will. Not that it's mine and I'm giving it to Krishna. Who will sponsor the Sunday feast? Who will give a donation? We're in such ignorance. Everything we have is meant only for the pleasure of the Lord. Absolutely and only for His pleasure. Until we recognize that, we're still bound up in this world. We're still subjected to action and reaction. It may be reducing, knots may be loosening, but we're still tied up. Only when we realize nothing, absolutely nothing whatsoever exists separate from Krishna and should always be used for Krishna's service. So life is meant to learn this. And this is being taught here by Vidyavali and Balivansh, teaching these 2 major lessons in life. And then there's freedom. There's no more fear. You've got nothing to lose. Fear is due to thinking I've got something. And we're afraid of losing it, huh? Afraid of losing our money, losing our family members, losing my body, losing my job, losing my mobile, losing so many things. Losing our position. Oh no! Losing my good name amongst fools. Fame amongst the infamous. And who cares? A bunch of asses barking. We salute you. Oh, big ass. We vote for you. I better keep my position as a big ass. I better learn to eat all very nicely. As soon as you don't eat all properly, they tear you down. We're all afraid of losing our position in the ass. Everybody. It's the material illusion, putting ourselves in the center. Krishna consciousness, to put Krishna in the center is wonderful. Mostly in religion, it's all about piety. Piety. Putting ourselves in the center, but with a kind of a veneer of God consciousness. In a godly sort of way. But kind of step down from the demigods type of thing. But we still, motivation is to get what I want. I want liberation. I want to go to heaven. I want a nice wife, don't tell anyone. Maybe a bit of money on the sideline would be a bad idea either. And by the way, that car I've got is not really up to the mark. I need a better job, by the way, also. I haven't got my green card yet, please. My son's taking his PhD. There's always something on the sideline there. Oh, my poor old mum, she's only 101. Please cure her. There's always something on the sideline. So Hare Krishna, Krishna, please give me some money. Krishna, Hare, please make sure I get a good job. Hare Rama, Hare, pass my exams by the way as well. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. Oh, free me from suffering. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Usually a few things mixed in there. So Bali Maharaj had sort of a way, teaching the lesson, he had a few things mixed in there. A little higher level, he was still thinking he had something to give. All we got to give up this idea that we have something to give. And to recognize everything already belongs to the Supreme Lord and to live in that consciousness. Everything in our lives, our garden, our water, our wife, her husband, her children, her car, her dog, her mobile phone, everything is simply meant for the Krishna's pleasure. So we're going to read one verse. We haven't time to go further deeper into this next section. So he's gone there. He's now been cursed by Shukracharya. Even Lord Vishnu said, because you've broken your promise, you'll have to go and spend some time in the hellish planets or the lower planets. And they will come back, don't worry. After some time, you will become the king. You will become the Indra, the universe. But first you have to go down. But don't worry, I'm giving you a planet which is more opulent than anything else. It's a special Sutala planet, Vishwakarma, special planet designed by him. Now I'll reside there, and there you'll live in even more wonder than you can imagine. But still, it's a lower planet. So he went there. Let's see if we can find it. The respects are offered. Let's see, where's this beautiful verse? I may have to look it up. I don't know the number. He glorifies him. Okay. Prahlad Maharaj. Here we go. This is it. Yes, here it is. I'd like to read this verse. This is text number 15 of the 23rd chapter of the 8th canto, if you want to follow it. It's very interesting. A little while ago, back 1 or 2 verses. Lord Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, thereafter addressed Shukracharya, the Bali Maharaj has now gone down to lower planets together with Prahlad Maharaj. He went with him. So he said to address Shukracharya, who was sitting nearby in the midst of the assembly with the priests. And that included all types of different priests. Oh, Maharaj Parikshit, these priests were all Brahmavadis, followers of the Vedic principles for performing sacrifices. They weren't necessarily pure devotees, but they were very learned, understanding the nature of Brahman, but not Parabrahman necessarily, but they were all very, very learned Brahmavadis. Oh, best of the Brahmanas, said the Lord, Shukracharya, please tell me, please describe the fault or discrepancy in your disciple, Bali Maharaj, who engaged in performing sacrifices. What was his fault? What was his fault? This fault will be nullified when judged in the presence of qualified Brahmins. It's an interesting statement. If he's had a fault, then please describe it, and then he'll be released or cleared of that fault if it's discussed in the assembly of qualified Brahmins. So please now tell me what that fault was. Then Shukracharya said, my Lord, even though he's usually we see Shukracharya in some kind of mood of being somewhat negative or even with animosity, let's say, towards the service of the Lord. But that's just his role which he has to play. Sometimes the Lord's associates play various roles, like in a drama, they have to act in certain roles, even though that may not be their normal nature. But for the purpose of the Lord's, for the Lord's purpose, they have to play certain roles. You are the enjoyer and lawgiver in all performances of sacrifice, and you are the Yogya Purush, the person to whom all sacrifices are offered. If one has fully satisfied you, where is the chance of discrepancies or faults in his performance of sacrifice? The purpose of Yogya by Vishnu is to satisfy Krishna or Vishnu. The purpose of Yogya. That's the purpose. And then the verse I wanted to read is a very famous verse, and many of you probably know it quite well. Text 16. Mantratasthantatash chidram deshakalaha vastutaha sarvam karoti nishchidram sankirtanam tava. Shukracharya said, there may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantras and in observing the regulated principles. And moreover, there may be discrepancies in regard to time, place, person, and paraphernalia. But when your Lordship's holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless, nischidram. And the Vedic mantras have to be chanted perfectly, the right time, the right place, the right Brahmins all have to be properly situated, all the paraphernalia has to be perfect, everything has to be done in perfect order, the correct directions, according to Vastu, everything has to be perfectly, otherwise the result will not be there, or you'll get the wrong result. Sometimes happens. In this Kali Yuga, it is not possible to do such yajna in perfection. People may imitate, but it's not possible. It's like a child imitates the mother with his plastic kitchen utensils and a few stones and a few bits of stick in the little plastic pots, but it doesn't get the result. It may look nice, they may think like that, but the result doesn't come. You just get sticks and stones. So you don't get any really beneficial result from all of that, in this Kali Yuga particularly. Everything's chikun, everything's full of fault. This age of Kali is full of faults. Kirtanadeva, Krishna Mukta Sangha Pramajat, there's only one Eka Maham Guna, good quality in Kali Yuga, that's Kirtanadeva Krishnasya, the chanting of Krishna's holy names. So even here he said, and there's Sankirtanam Tava, and everything becomes Nischidram if when your holy name is chanted. Of course, that's not being chanted in order to necessarily counteract all of those offenses in some kind of purposeful way, then it can become an aparad. But nonetheless, it's chanted in the performance of this yajna, and he's chanted your holy name, so he's actually faultless. He's faultless. And in this age, it's the yajna sankirtanam prayer, vijantihi sameda shahada, in Kali Yuga, the only yajna which will be fruitful in the real sense of the term, is the Sankirtan Yajna, the chanting of the Lord's holy names. And that is to be developed, cultivated, and it's just a relationship with the holy name, a relationship with the relationship with the sacrifice being performed by the Bhrigu dynasty herein has to be done perfectly. Similarly, a relationship with the Sankirtan Yajna. However, there's always benefit. It's all auspicious. There's always benefit. But if we want the full benefit, then we have to approach Sankirtan, the Sankirtan Yajna, with a selfless heart, with a desire simply to put the holy name in the center, and not ourselves. Prabhupada writes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended, he's recommended Harinama, Harinama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, 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 Gatiranyata. In the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. We may think like there's so many paths, etc., but in Kali Yuga, this is the only way to attain the ultimate destination. We may get somewhere else by some other process, some other planet, or even maybe liberation. To attain the highest destination, to go to Golok Dhaam, Krishna Paramartha Mahan, to gain the highest perfection is only through yajna, through sacrifice must be performed. Sacrifice must be performed, it must be performed. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu must be performed. Otherwise, everything binds us. Even as sacrifices for the parts and parcels of the Lord, doing welfare work or worshipping demigods, etc., may be recommended in certain situations, but it doesn't release the living entity ultimately from the root cause of the problem, the root cause of our identification, or seeing ourselves as the enjoyer, seeing ourselves as the proprietor, seeing ourselves separately from Krishna. The disease condition of life. People think that that is a disease. If you tell them, actually we're not the enjoyers, we don't own anything, everything belongs to Krishna, he's the enjoyer, I'm not this body. You say like that, people think you're crazy. You think you're madman. But actually, this is the madman who thinks that they are the enjoyer, that they are the controller, they are the proprietor, etc. In this age of Kali, it is extremely difficult to perform Vedic ritualistic ceremonies or sacrifices perfectly. Hardly anyone can chant the Vedic mantras with perfect pronunciation or accumulate paraphernalia for Vedic performances. Sometimes they even use oil in yajnas. I've seen oil on the lamps in the temples, and paper plates, and aluminium on the yogya shell, so many different things, wood from some, orange crates, all kinds of strange things, cigarette lighters, all sorts of things, paper plates, plastic plates, all sorts of things we're using. It's unheard of, they didn't even exist. What to speak of being used in the yogya? All the paraphernalia has to be just pure, completely pure. Therefore, the sacrifice recommended in this age is Sankirtan, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord. We just heard that verse. Instead of wasting time performing Vedic sacrifices, those who are intelligent, Krishna Vanam, Visha Krishna, Sango Bhangas Parshta, Yagyaya Sankirtanam Praya, Yajantihi Sameda Saha. David 11th canto of Bhagavatam. Intelligent persons in this age of Kali worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is accompanied by his associates by the performance of Sankirtan or chanting the holy names. And Lord is accompanied by his weapons and his associates. Weapons of his beauty, qualities. They should take to the chanting of the Lord's holy name and thus perform sacrifice perfectly. It's the only way. I have seen that many religious leaders are addicted to performing yagyas and spending hundreds and thousands of rupees for imperfect sacrificial performances. Jai Shri Konikai, This is a lesson for those who unnecessarily execute such imperfect sacrifices. We should take the advice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Yagyaya Sankirtanam Praya Yajantihi Sameda Saha. Although Shukracharya was a strict Brahmin addicted to ritualistic activities, he also admitted, Nischidram Anasankirtanam Tava. My Lord, constant chanting of the holy name of your Lordship makes everything perfect. In Kali Yuga, the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies cannot be performed as perfectly as before. Therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami has recommended that although one should take care to follow all the principles in every kind of spiritual activity, especially in worship of the deity, there is still a chance of discrepancies, and one should compensate for this by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In our Krishna conscious movement, we therefore give special stress to the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, in all activities. So whatever we're doing, Prabhupada says, I was going to say, when we're eating, we should chant. When we're, it's a little difficult sometimes, at least in the mind. You don't want to splatter everything all around us. When you're sleeping, you can chant. Sometimes devotees, you do hear them chanting loudly. When they're fast asleep, maybe not so good, you wake everyone else up. It's describing like this. When you're driving, not on your beads, by the way, you can chant Hare Krishna if you're at the wheel. You shouldn't chant with your beads when you're at the wheel. Dangerous. I don't want to speak of it intended, but you can still chant the holy name of Krishna. While you can sing while you're driving. When we're gardening, if you ever know what gardening is, if you've never seen or done any gardening, but whatever we're doing, cooking, cleaning, walking, everywhere, you chant wherever we can. We should, while we're doing it, chant Hare Krishna. When it's practical, when it's possible, keep chanting, keep chanting, keep chanting. This is the recommendation. Even if it's not pure, Prabhupada said, the way to become pure is to chant more. And some people think the other way, but that's not what Prabhupada said. They chant more. He's not chanting enough. And we don't become pure by reducing our chanting. We have to chant more and more. This purifies our consciousness, as well as this is a sacrifice. It purifies the entire environment and helps rectify or counteract all the ill effects of this age of Kali. Kali Kalmashanashanam. This Kali Yuga is full of ill effects, counteracted by this chanting, sound vibration, and all the lies that are going on, all accumulating in the ether, are dissolved to a large degree. The more pure the chanting is, the more, complete the chanting is. Sankirtan means complete glorification, everywhere. All over the world we should perform Sankirtan Yajna, one after the next. It should not stop. So an auspiciousness will be evoked everywhere. This is the real purpose of yoga, to bring about auspiciousness and to awaken consciousness of Krishna. That should be our intention. We haven't got time to go on any further. Please take advantage of this merciful form of the Lord in this age of Kali Yuga, Kali Kalera, Namarupa Krishna Avatar has appeared in this Namarup, in the form of the holy name, in this age, this troubled age of Kali, to shower his mercy on everyone. It's the Yuga Dharma, Dharma Harinam Sankirtanam. It's the Dharma of the Kali Yuga. The religious practice for this age is chanting the Lord's holy name. So let us take shelter of the holy name and chant Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And let us do good for all living entities. Please, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is our sacrifice, our surrender. This is the surrender to always chant the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.